tier list. We haven't done a tier list in a while because we want to wait, for quite a few major patches to go through. That way, there's significant possible changes within the tier list, whether it be new genres of gods getting better. For this particular patch, hunters are super strong, so we're probably going to see a lot of hunters rise up in the list, a lot of hunters viable in the mid lane now as well as in the ADC role, even more so than beforehand. As far as the rankings go, as we're placing the gods in, if we think later on that we find a better spot for them, so say we place Agni in B+ tier, and then later on we're placing other gods in tiers around him, or we find other gods that are in B tier and we realize that Agni is better or worse than that, then of course we can move him accordingly as we progress through the tier list. So that may happen a couple times just as we get more and more gods on the list, and as we have the direct comparisons right there on the tier list. So first up, of course, we always have our boy Agni, who used to be the pinnacle of SMITE meta, being A, but he has significantly dropped off for quite a while now, and I'm actually going to put him all the way down in B tier. I don't even know if Agni has been played yet in SPL, and considering like upwards of 85+% of gods have been played in SPL, if you're not seeing your chance in the SPL right now, it's not because it's not because like you're good enough but people just can't figure out how to make it work. It's just that you don't work. It's that people have tried and you don't work, period. Mainly because of Agni's lack of early game. Agni sucks until level 5. The game is super snowball, and Agni doesn't snowball when he can't do crap. So Agni needs more attack speed. Hi-Rez knows what's wrong with Agni. Amazon Cobb, still down to B tier. His much better counterpart, if you want to go something like AMC, is Artemis. That super risky ADC that does high damage output, late game type ADC. Amazon Cobb is not working because of his early game's fine, but he's too susceptible to ganks. He's too susceptible to dying in lane to aggressive gods like Guan Yu.
Much love from the Game Recover
thank you,
YouTube
Skippy
channel
McDoo.
to INCON. Keep
Skippy
rocking,
McDoo.
man.
Skippy McDay. My, oh my, what a wonderful donation. Hey. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. But overall, stick away from the B. Obey the call of Apwash. Apwash is an interesting mid god right now. I don't believe he's also been played in the SPL, but he did get buffed a little bit on a couple of his skills, particularly his 1 and his 3. He's hard to play. His early game's not bad. He actually does a lot of burst damage pre-level 5, but it's not as easy to land the damage as, say, you just do like a Raijin 2, 3 or so, because you can just like jump out of Apwash damage, dash out of the damage, etc. Herwin played Apwash. That's right. Herwin played Apwash. So he's been played like once or twice. That's right. He is good. His ultimate is not great, though. It's pretty easy to get out of. You can get behind things to get out of it. Like, I believe your mirror wall stops it, stuff like that. He is better than Agni, though. His early game, his early clear is much better than that. But he's not going to be your top focus for mid laners at all. Anha, the king of the jungle himself. Anha is super strong right now, as are a lot of the ADCs. I mean, like, ADCs are like redonkulous right now. If you've been watching Emilito, if you've been watching Zatman, if you've been watching Oceans, if you've been watching Snoopy, like, it is a nonsense fiesta out there of crazy damage and crits and these new items that give you bonus movement speed and attack speed when you do things, because why not? So Anher, Anher's pushing S tier. I'm going to actually put him up in F tier for now. He is completely viable in ADC and mid. He's got 2 roles that he does super well in. He destroys mages in the mid lane. For the most part, he can outbox almost anybody in the ADC role. He brings so much. He has pen built in his kit, which is one of the reasons why he's so strong right now. There's been a transition away from like a lot of pen focused builds for ADC. and they've gone more towards, if you look at like the Snoopy build, you're doing Golden Bow, Devo Gloves, Fatalis as your first 3 items. Like that's 3 items with no pen in. Now the other build still has the Aussie for pen, and then the Snoopy build does get Icky Vol next, which gives you a little bit of pen. But having that ability to get it right off the bat is so strong for Ant. It's one of the reasons why he's thriving so much. Amaterasu. I hate going against this god, and everything in me wants to rate her like S+ because she's like the most annoying god of all time. But in all honesty, she's completely balanced. I don't play solo lane, so I don't have the real in-depth strategies on her. But all I know is sometimes she does awesome and sometimes she sucks. She seems to, I mean, she loses lane in the solo lane for the most part, which is a big deal. A lot of other solo laners out clear here. We're talking like the really good solo laner. We're talking about Robin, Osiris, Bellona. All of these gods out clear here, which can hurt her turning on. Kind of like Guan Yu. Guan Yu's doing better in the support role than he is in the solo lane because he doesn't have that much clear as a solo laner, but he actually has a ton of clear as a support. So that's why you're seeing him picked up a lot more as a support than a solo laner. So AMA kind of falls into that problem. But if she does get out of laning phase and get into Team Fate. She does have a great team fight. The bonus passive that she gives, whether it be the physical power or movement speed, is fantastic. And then, of course, her ultimate is super destructive, not to mention she does have a silence. Anubis is honestly as good as Agni. So, sue me now, but Anubis has better early game than Agni. Okay? Anubis can snowball really hard. He's super incredibly risky, and that's why you should definitely not pick him. He can do Gold Furies super early the second he hits level 5 because his ultimate does insane base damage. I'm not saying pick him. I'm saying he's in B tier, but I'm saying that I would rather have an Anubis on my team probably than an Agni some of the times. Especially if it was a good Anubis player. Because he catches people off guard, at least in a ranked it does. I wouldn't ever even bother grabbing either of them in competitive, but, I mean, he could definitely do it. So, Quang or Banger? So Quang was a god that we saw where he was really strong in casuals, and then he became really strong in ranked, and then he never got played in competitive, right? For like a long time after his post-patch transition. So, now, he's great in casuals, or he's actually even a little bit not as good in casuals. He's actually like okay in casuals, because he's actually not super easy to play. He's great in ranked, and he's now getting pretty damn good in competitive again. We're seeing people like the likes of Homie break out Quang. I think DJ Pernicus might have broken out a Quang at this point. So we're seeing the Quang get broken out and pretty much seeing some good success. Still more of a ranked god than a competitive god, but junglers are finding out how to transition him, especially now that speed buff is back. He really loves the speed buff because Lord knows Quang is getting across the map left and right. He is a good jungler. We're going to put him right now into the A+ tier. Definitely people are enjoying this pick more and more often. I think as we finish up these final 2 weeks of SPL, we will probably see him played quite a bit more. Especially from those that are really digging him as a jungler right now. Aphrodite. She sucks. It's not healer meta right now. So if you're a fan of the healers, dude, you're having a bad time. You're having a bad time right now if you're a healer. Aphrodite is having a real bad time. She has no lane. She can't be played solo. She can't be played mid. Her early game is not strong enough. Unfortunately, she just cannot do literally anything. As much as I would like to give Aphrodite the D, I think we all would like to give her the D, if you know what I mean. But we're going to put her in C tier. She's just not effective. She just doesn't do anything, dude. She just doesn't do anything. So, what are you going to do? Apollo! Oh my god. Screw Apollo for forever, man. Yo, let me know in chat right now, dude. How dumb is Apollo, dude? And how ridiculous is it that he got buffed recently with those mana reduction costs, dude? Because when I thought Apollo, what I thought was put this god on a pedestal and just tickle his scrotum is all I can think. Apollo up here in S tier. Definitely incredibly strong. His ability to clear waves with Audacity and Golden Bow is just almost unparalleled by anybody except for maybe Jing Wei. He doesn't really transition to that mid role as well as say Onher does, and Jing Wei can play mid. Even Tyron can play mid a little bit. He's pretty much strictly for the ADC role. But there's no hard counter. He counters quite a few supports in lane. Apollo's great against Guan Yu. You just mess him out of his Talon Assault. Anybody that has an ability channeled like that. He's very safe. His kit's super bloated. It all does too many things. Like his 3 gives a dash, and it's also a movement speed buff, and his 2 is a mez, but it's also a physical protection buff. And it's just too much stuff in his kit. Too much stuff. Arachne is not terrible. She's not terrible. She's not great, but she's not terrible. I don't know if she'll ever find her spot. I think Enemy brought her out into a competitive game, and I don't believe they won it. But she can clear pretty fast. If you want to go Hog, she can clear extra fast. Hog is not terrible right now. We're seeing a lot of solo enders pick it up. Maybe transitioning over as well. A couple supports picking it up. So we got a couple of those popping up around the map. But, I mean, the thing is that she just has better... They're just better picks for the jungler. The one thing that she does do well against, she does very well against Lokis and Quengs. You hit her with Spideys, and Spideys follow Queng and Loki in stealth. So she's a great pick against both of those. But still doesn't mean I'd be picking that all the time. Arachne, yes. Ares is balanced, dude. He's getting SPL play. He's getting ranked play. He can carry in ranked. He can do quite a bit of work in SPL. He can be quite annoying to deal with in lane. His biggest issue as a god on Ares was his lane clear, right? So Ares' lane clear was always his biggest downfall. You simply picked any other support, right? And you outcleared Ares. Well, that's still kind of true in that Ares himself doesn't lane clear that well, but what he does do is Flame Wave knocks back the melees, and you can get them in range of the back archers. So Golden Bow from your ADC can smack the entire wave if you play it right. Which of course leads to a really fast clear. So that's a thing. And then of course chains are always strong. Of course with Ares you fall behind, you're always in trouble, but if you get ahead with Ares, you're a whole additional carry. So, I mean, risk and reward. Artemis is fine, dude. We've seen some Artemis play. Yo, Artie coming back into the meta a little bit. Her laning phase is not great. It's not bad. It's not great. She's not going to beat Apollo and her, but she'll beat a couple other people. Her new traps are actually really strong for those that have played against Artemis since she got her new traps. They're very difficult to see. They're like a light red, and they're very, very flat on the floor. It's not like there's any thickness to it, so you could like see this way. You have to see it from top down, basically. So the traps are actually way more effective. Obviously, Tusky has always been her strongest part about it, and people have been picking up Blink on her. Specifically the ADC for Enemy, whose name I can't recall right now for whatever reason it may be, he blinks and then ultimates on art, and then it's like bop 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 boar. He's like trap over here, random arrows, crit, pretty sick actually. Can be very difficult to deal with, and overall, in a good spot. In a good spot. Panda Cat. It's Panda Cat. That's the name of the anime agency. That's what it is. Athena is still one of the best supports in the game. There's just no way around it. She is good lane clear, good damage, good crowd control, good initiation factor, good getting out factor, good map presence factor, great passive. It blocks the auto attacks, which is great against, ADCs that end up getting crit at the end because if you just block an auto, it can't possibly crit you. Overall, wonderful. Wonderful. Willix is great right now. She's perfectly balanced. A lot of people we're seeing very popular in the SPL right now is the Willix combos. We're seeing Sobek plus a Willix and like maybe one other knockup like a Tier, or we're seeing like a Bacchus, a Willix, and maybe a Vulcan in the mid lane. Something like that. She combos very well. By herself, not so impressive. In combos with competitive players, definitely showing up as a god. But you're always picking her into those combos. Bacchus is totally cool. We're seeing a lot of effective play of Bacchus in both regions. Probably the best Bacchus right now playing out there. I think Suntouch is playing a super mean Bacchus. I think he's getting hog on it and like stealing people's buffs and stuff, like real nasty. But he's in a great spot. As far as aggressive supports go, I mean, he typically loses lane. But his team fight's super strong, especially early because of how much damage his ultimate does and how disorienting it is. Nobody really wants to bead Bacchus ult. But sometimes, I mean, you might as well just do it. Bakasura. Bakasura is Shmeh. So Baka was like up here for a long time. He was basically up here for a long time. And then they changed the map. And so all of a sudden he went from like, yeah, I've got this clear. Look at all the stuff that I'm doing. And now he's kind of like, I can be used in ranked and stuff. He's like, I can be used in ranked and stuff. He's really not that crazy. If he gets ahead, he can still be a nuisance, but he doesn't bring frontline as a solo laner. Most people don't want to play him in the jungle because there's a lot of other strong jungles right now. So he's really not going to see that much play anymore. His big thing he had going for him was the solo lane when the boars were there, because he could just eat boars on cooldown and get all that XP. And he's not so much doing that anymore. So Bastet is just dandy, I suppose. She could probably use a little booster pack, a little something. You're not really seeing her played, less because she's trashed, more because other gods are better. Which is the case, I think, of a lot of gods right now. I don't think Arachne's trash. I think the other gods are better. Stuff like that. Even like AMA, you don't even see that often anymore because like, yeah, she's good, but like there's probably 3 or 4 support or solo laner gods that are like above her in terms of just being better. So that's a lot of the issues right now with a lot of the gods, is that they're not trash, they're just other gods are better. But their kits can still work. Baloney! Baloney, yeah! Solo lane! Alright! Yeah. She's not necessarily... So obviously Baloney used to be like, yay, game is over, alright, cool beans. But she's like your S, A+ tier. Give or take. Oh, can you put him in the middle? That'd be sick. Can you really do that? Oh my god, you can put him in the middle, dude. Holy shit, that is cool. Would you look at that, dude? You can put him in the flippin' middle. Cool. Well, she's right about there. She's right about in between that A plus and S tier. What a cool little new function to the tier list website. So that's nifty. Whoop, I'm back. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's basically where she is. She's kind of like right in between that tier, like right around that A plus S tier. So how about that? Great clear, great team fight, cool stuff. It's A plus plus, or it's like S minus minus. There you go. Cabrakan is not good as of this exact moment, but the patch comes out on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, which means if this is on YouTube, the patch is already out. Cabrakan is probably going to be fine. So he's getting a little bit of buffs all around, but a little bit of buffs all around can end up making a big difference. So he's going to get like 10 more damage on his 1, like 10 more damage on his 2, and his passive is going to affect himself. So honestly, I think that he'll end up being in a fine spot. I think he's going to be just dandy. We've seen him pretty effectively played in the jungle. I think we might see a little bit more Cabrakan support. Yeah, so I think we might start to see a little bit more Cabrakan around the map. Probably not in the solo lane where it used to be. Probably more towards the solo lane or the jungle and support role. Chalk, I liebe. Chalk's fine. I think we've seen Divi play Chalk. I'm sure we've seen Zalia play Chalk. What does Chalk do? Chalk wins lane. Like, hard. Like, my name is Chalk, and my axe does a lot of damage, and my 2 does a lot of damage, and I clear that wave, and I clear it damn fast. Can he snowball? Yes, he can. Does he always snowball? No. Should you play him every game? Probably not. Why not? Because other solo laners are higher tier than him. So, Chalk is fine, but other solo laners are better. Yes, he clears really fast, but so do other gods like Raven and Bellona and pretty much every OP solo lane god. Chang'e! B+. She needs probably a little bit more adjustment. She has what I would consider the best ultimate in the entire game. Off the top of my head, the first one that could come to mind is Chang'e. Potentially the most devastating ult if you hit 3, 4, 5 people. The problem is her early game sucks, and obviously, as we've discussed a lot already, this tier list, it is an early game meta. She has a hard time making it out of the early game, but if I'm going to have a god that, can't get out of the early game, I'd rather have a Chang'e than an Agni on my team, because Chang'e is going to one-shot Agni at the end of a game anyway, so whatever. Chiron, or as his skin would say, woo. Woo. Chiron's balanced. We can see Chiron in ADC and mid. We're seeing less of Chiron compared to more because they had taken the cripple off of his 1, and they did something else. They made him slower in his ultimate, maybe? They did, or, yeah. I think that's what they did. I think those are the 2 changes they made. Still as an ADC, he can still build Golden Bow. He's still pretty safe because of his dash. He still has the cleanse on his 1, even though they don't have the cripple. But what are you going to do? He's a fine god. Is he as good as Apollo? No. Right. That's what a lot of this tier list is going to come down to. You're going to say, like, well, there's a lot of gods that are balanced. And it's like, okay, but look at the role they're going to play. And then look at this tier and this tier. You know what I'm saying? Kronos is fine. We haven't seen a lot of Kronos lately. I think it's a couple-fold. One, it's because Kronos was actually really popular as an ADC. He worked really well as ADC, but now that Golden Bow is here, it kind of killed the whole Kronos ADC thing, because for the most part, you just get out-cleared by Golden Bow. So you can have a hard time clearing with Chronos. As far as mid lane goes, we're seeing almost no Chronos because his early game typically is not that strong. You can get away. You go Soulstone and Purple Pot, and you can have a strong start to your early game on Chronos. But he's super susceptible. A lot of the mid laners actually do very well against him. Isis does well against him. Ryzen does well against him. Janet's not so OP against him. Zeus does great against him. A lot of these bursty, all one-time damage gods are in the meta, which means Chronos kind of gets... He can get one shot before he gets his ult off. So, you got to be really careful with that. But honestly, you can totally play him. The problem is people really want to play him ADC, but you can't really play him ADC anymore just because of the Golden Bow Hunter meta. Get back! Get back! He's fine, dude. Can Cupid build Golden Bow? You're damn right Cupid can build Golden Bow, dude. You are damn right Cupid can build Golden Bow. But he is getting an itty-bitty buff coming up that we will see how it affects him. His ultimate now will no longer have a charge-up time. It'll no longer have a charge-up time. Okay. It becomes 0 seconds, and the charge-up is after. It's going to be afterwards, which may actually help Cupid a lot. So one of the problems with Cupid a lot of the times is that you use your ultimate, and then you can't... it stops the animation when the ultimate doesn't go off. That problem is going to be completely gone on Cupid. Which means that you have an instant cripple AoE on Cupid now, which will certainly be interesting to see how that goes. But at the same time, it's like supports can have heavenly agility. You probably won't see him played, but if you can build Golden Bow, if you're a hunter right now, chances are you're like around A tier, just because of the nature of Golden Bow. So... I mean, it's kind of the way it goes. It's kind of the way it goes. Fenrir. Fenrir's in a weird spot. I'm going to put him in between A and A+. Oh, no, I want him here. No. Yeah. He's covering up Ares. Nice. He can be played. He's pretty much being played strictly in the jungle. I think maybe we've seen Scary D break him out in the solo lane. But for the most part, he's been playing strictly in the jungle. We've seen some people be effective with him, but we're not seeing... It's not a carry god, right? Fenrir doesn't carry you. He's more of a setup, almost a utility-based jungle. Now, he doesn't pair as well as other gods do. So you say you pick a Willix and then you can just go, Sobek or Bacchus. She pairs really well and she gets a lot stronger than she is. But by herself, she's not necessarily better at a lot of the stuff than Fenrir. You have to be careful about picking Fenrir, but at the same time, if you leave Fenrir open and you pick a silly god that doesn't have any way to stop the brutalize, he's just going to brutalize you over and over and over and over and over. So, Freya. So Freya got a buff. People thought she might come back, and then she didn't. Why didn't she come back? Because she can't build Golden Bow. So great. She has 1 more second on her 2, so she gets like an extra attack in. But luckily, ADCs can just auto-attack the entire time with Golden Bow and win. She's just chilling down here in B+. She needs something done with her. Actually, no, she doesn't. I take that back. She doesn't need anything done with her. She needs Golden Bow taken out of the game, and then Freya will be fine. That's all she needs. Geb's fine. Geb's A tier. Geb is like the equivalent of Bacchus on the opposite spectrums of support. So Geb basically is super defensive, right? Compared to Bacchus being super aggressive. So Bacchus laning phase is kind of meh. Geb laning phase is kind of meh. Geb gets destroyed in lane by a lot of matchups. So Ares destroys Geb. Guan Yu destroys Geb. Khepri does really well against Geb. A lot of guys do very well against Geb. So, but when you get to the team fight stage, right, he has initiation into immediate peel, which is super strong. But you do have to get Geb to like that 15-20 minute mark before he really becomes super useful. Yeah, you'll have the shield at like level 4, but at the same time, it's, you know, not that much HP. It's a great ability, and he'll always be relevant as long as he has shield. But he needs help with the laning phase and getting to that mid game T fight. Compared to, say, Bacchus, all he needs is he hits level 5, and then he goes in, he flops you, and he drunks you, and he bursts you down. And if he bursts you down, then they go do the Gold Fury because you immediately die, and it's like, oh no, and then yeah. Or if you're going against Ares, you get chained, and you're like, oh no. And then if you get ultied, and then you have to use your ult to counter his ult, but then somebody on your team got pulled, it's the whole process. Guan Yu is strong right now, but not as really a solo laner. It's more of a support. Now the real question is Guan Yu an A or like a A in between A and A plus? That's the real question. Guan Yu's strong. His support is really, really good. Probably A tier. He's probably fine. If he was better in other roles, I would probably put Guan Yu a little bit higher. The problem with Guan, of course, is that he's pretty strictly just a support right now. As far as picking him, you need to be careful with counters, okay? So Guan Yu is super strong in the right situations. Like if you have him in the best case situation, Guan Yu can be like up here. But you get super hard countered by Serket, you get super hard countered by Sobek, by Odin. There's quite a few gods that make your life a lot harder than you'd like it to be. So you got to be careful not to pick them. You can't really play them in the solo lane because you'll just get out-cleared. Super hard, you get out-cleared, you're going to get out-rotated. It means you're not going to get your fire creeps. If you don't get fire creeps, your jungler's falling behind. So there's a lot of issues with that. Now, if for some reason they had terrible clear in the solo lane, yeah, you could run Guan Yu, but chances are they're not going to have terrible clear. Hades. Hades is around that B plus tier. I think Hades can be played right now. I would not be... Yeah, Guan wins versus tier. There you go. There's a matchup. But he loses like every other matchup. Hades could probably be played right now. I think people are probably a little bit afraid to pull out the Hades. You're probably not going to see him anywhere but mid solo. He could work in those two roles, but it's like if you're gonna play somebody, there's probably better options. You could combine him though. Probably underrated. You could combine him with a full comp. You could go Ares support, Hunmatch jungle, Hades solo. Do something like that. Have the Hades or have the Ares like force the beads, or the Hunmatch forces the beads, and then the Ares pulls into a Hades ult or something. Like, you could make that work. You could definitely make that work. So, oh boy, poor guy just gets countered by every god in the game. Like, his kit is so strong and he hits so strong, but it's like, oh, they picked Fenrir. I guess I lose. Oh, they picked a god that can CC me. Guess I'm dead. Oh, they picked Sobek. I guess I'm plugging back here and getting one shot. Oh, they got Isis. Guess I'm just going to get spirit balls and die. So that's Hebo's problem, is he just died. I do think that maybe he could rush new Warlock Sash. Hebo base damage so high that the new Warlock Sash, that's 1350. He rushes Warlock Sash. He gets that on a line early. Maybe he goes boots right after Warlock Sash. Gets the early HP. He can live through the gank with a knock up into an ultimate. He could maybe see some revitalization with the upcoming Warlock Sash. We'll have to see how that goes. So, we'll have to see how that goes. Hell! Oh, hell. At least you're not with Afro. Hell sucks. Reasoning, are you a healer? You probably suck right now. We can encourage this. Real easy to get. All you do is you get it at level 1. Mages can't really fight early game. They're really looking towards the late game. The only person that can afford to do that right now is the mid laner. And even then, they're not even going late game. They're building purple pot, so they're building level 1. And, yeah, GG, GG, Hell and Afro. GG, no re. Baby, that's Hercules. Hercules is in a weird spot. He's probably actually in between B plus and A, if that's, yeah, there we go. He kind of just chills around this spot where he feels fine, but then, like, doesn't win. I think we're seeing him pick him up sometimes in the SPL. We're not seeing him a whole bunch right now, but he's definitely getting picked up. I would like to see some more people playing him in terms of just, like, generic play. He's not a god that gets played all that much, but he's pretty fine, though. I don't think it's so much he needs buffs as other gods need nerfs, you know? So he kind of falls into that department of he's fine, but why would you pick Herc when Robin's on the table? Oh, Jesus! I can actually put these. Can I put these right here? Yeah, I can. I can put these. No. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting good at this. Okay, I can put them like in between tiers at the end. Cool. Who Jesus is great. What the? Fine, go there. Be that way. Hu Yi is really good. His level 1 clear is unparalleled. He clears the back harpies faster than any other hunter. He clears pretty much all the buff claims faster than anybody else. His in-lane fight is really good. His team fight is really good. But he is not going to bring the same level as an Apollo. And you shouldn't really be able to 1v1 the On-Her. In a team fight, though, you probably bring better presence than the On-Her. But the early game, the On-Her should win wave clear. Apollo should win wave clear. Of course, depending on the supports, but you know. Hoonbots. Hoonbots is a good jungler right now. He's a good jungler right now. We're seeing him picked up quite a bit. But, oh no. Oh gosh. Oh goodness gracious. Look what you guys have done to me. Move you down here. Back up here. Rip. Look what you guys did. Ah, I fixed it. Aha, I fixed it again. Aha. You know what? Screw you in between tiers. We're just going to figure this out. Fenrir, you going to... Bologna's going to S. Fenrir's going to... He's going to... He's not as good as Quay. They both going to A. Screw those in between tiers. We going tiers. Let's go. Okay. Who are we talking about? Hunbats. Hunbats brings his ultimate. Really, you're pairing Hunbats most of the time with some other big CC ultimate. Hunbats plus Ares is great. Hunbats plus Orison, so you can get one of those off. Something like that where you do 2 giant CCs. So they have to choose which one they want to get rid of with beads. Is basically the situation there for them. Basically the situation. Hey, one of our better mid laners right now, Isis, A+. Isis is... Oh, yo, thank you, Bladestorm. I appreciate it. 5 months in a row, baby. Isis is one of the better mids, but also one of the easiest counterable mids. That's her problem right now. So, Isis has one of the best lane clears middle in the game. She has 2 forms of CC, including 1 hard CC and a stun. She has arguably the best objective secure in the game, which also doubles as a heal. And it does absurd amount of damage. And her passive is actually not bad. It gives regen to the team. Her issue, of course, is that you can't pick her typically super early unless you're not afraid of a couple counter picks or you've got something ready for counter picks. Serket does really well against her because she can stop the healing. Obviously, Odin does really well against her because you just get Odin caged. So there are some things that can make Isis's life troublesome. But at the same time, you can still destroy with her. Alright, so moving on, we've got Janus. Janus is one of the safest mid gods right now, but I wouldn't say he's the best mid god. I'd say he's about equal with Isis. Isis, yes. He's got a lot of damage early game. He typically is getting purple pot, but you can get away with do more on Janus right now. Definitely the safest mid god you can pick. If you don't know what to pick and you don't know what the enemy is going to pick, you can go Janus. He's safe. He has great mobility. He's got good damage. From behind, he's not as good as some of the other gods. I would say Raijin and like Scylla are pretty good from behind. Janus, not quite as good as that, but certainly a safe god that you won't end up behind that often on, which should hopefully make up for that. That should hopefully help you out with that. Always a safe pick for mid, though. Always safe. Jing Wei, dude, is up here with our boys, Anher and Apollo, man. You're going to see a lot of bans on hunters. So Jing Wei has caused not a split, but a pretty big divide, I suppose, in the hunter community, because she destroys. Okay, she destroys. Her late game is redonkulous. She probably has the best late game. She probably has the best late game out of like any hunter right now, outside of like Artemis or something. She has the best map rotations. She has better map rotations than Apollo. Considering Apollo has to use an ultimate, Jingwei just has to back and she can get to anywhere in her jungle. She has the best CC on any hunter. Jingwei's knockup is the best CC ability on any hunter. She has free crit. She has free fatalis. She has free bonus attack speed. Her ultimate is one of the best getaways in the entire game. It's not great for attacking, but it's one of the best getaways in the entire game. Her skill cap is up here. You see how you can't see it on the screen because that's where her skill cap is? And most people playing her, their skill cap is down here. And so they're not reaching her potential. But I'm telling you right now, when you watch Zap play her, when you watch Ataraxia play her, when you watch Oceans play her, you go, huh, that god is actually broken. So, she is one of the few gods in Smite that her skill cap is super high, and I think you're only ever going to see pros playing her the right way. Legit. Next up is Kali. So Kali is a strange god right now because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Casuals and competitive are not the same. And Kali is a god that is not treated the same way in those tiers. I would suspect that Kali is probably considered one of the best gods in casual tier. But as far as competitive goes, you're not seeing a whole lot of Kali. And the reason why is because her early game is not good at all. Her early game is not good. She has a very hard time getting towards the end of a game, getting towards that team fight where she becomes especially relevant. Now, she is a god that can completely take over a game. She's one of the few gods that can single-handedly carry a match, but that does require to get out of that early game stage, and a top-tier competitive team playing correctly, picking correctly, should not be letting her get out of that stage. So, much to the hatred of all things probably Reddit, I'm going to put her here in balanced tier. Even though, you know, I'm sure I'm going to get raged at for forever, but I'm just trying to give an honest tier list. I'm not trying to get what the people want. So, there you go. Take it or leave it. Capri! Caparinos! Capri. So, Capri is right around this A+ tier. I wouldn't pick Capri before I picked Athena. Certainly. But Capri is still super strong. The problem with Capri is not his early game, and it's not necessarily any part of the game for Capri. He's got good clear. His ultimate is good. He's got good CC. But here's the issues with Capri. Capri's pluck does leave him vulnerable. Okay? And Capri's ultimate can definitely be hard to use. I mean, like, hard to use to the point to where it can come down to luck. So, Capri ultimate, a lot of the times you end up using it on yourself because if they're really like right on top of each other, it'll pretty much just pick whoever it wants to go on. Capri ult does have a slight cast time, which means that you can cast Capri ult and the animation can start to go off and they can die and not get the ult. So, just little things that are on top of each other. It'll pretty much just pick whoever it wants to go on. Capri ult does have a slight cast time, which means that you can cast Capri ult and the animation can start to go off and they can die and not get the ult. So, just little things that are wrong with Capri. He's also got a huge-ass character model, so you can hit him really easy, so you can't really dodge on him. Stuff like that, to where he's still strong, but he's not Athena. He's not Athena. Alright. If chat made their own list, every god would be S+ and D. That's the truth, dude. Kukulkan, dude. Speaking of S+, Kukulkan broken, dude. It's all INCON can play. Man, I'm just kidding. That's Zeus. You're right. Kukulkan, honestly, he's in this B+ to A range. I'd pick him certainly before I played Chang'e. Maybe not before I played Pwash, though. Pwash actually might be A tier. I might actually move Pwash up to A and move Agni up to B+. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. We moved Agni up to Agni up to B+, Pwash up to A, and Kukulkan. Kukulkan on the same tier as Agni. I'd pick Kukulkan before I picked Agni or Hebo. Alright, that's a little bit more accurate. Kukulkan. So the deal with Kukulkan, right, is you're just so susceptible to ganks. Your movement speed is like 0% minus 87. You have to walk backwards, actually, to get to lane in Kukulkan. It's how slow you are. But he full clears at level 1 with the build right now. One of the few gods right now that full clears at level 1. He has an extremely good fight, actually, in the early game. His Tornado plus Sneeze combo does a lot of damage. His ultimate can secure incredibly well. And if he hit his ultimate on 2 or 3 people on a team fight, I mean, you're going to win the team fight. The big issue with Kukulkan being he just gets dove. Apollo ult on the backline. Bellona ult on the backline. Raven ult on the backline. Sobek pluck in the backline. There's just so many people that can dive on you right now that it's so hard to play him. But I can definitely see him. You can still build comps around him. I bet if he went Gab plus like something else a little bit supporty so you could peel off of the Kukulkan, you can make him work. Kumba Gardna is one of our best supports in the game right now. Kumba Gardna is S tier. Kumba is insane right now. He's really strong. So why is Kumba so strong right now? Alright, so let's talk about Kumba. Let's spend a little time here in Kumba. First of all, Kumba clear is not bad. As far as Belly Bop goes, Belly Bop is pretty good clear. It does have a decently long cooldown, I believe 15 seconds. But Kumba Belly Bop is really strong, and it does, of course, do bonus damage for throwing the minions, which makes for decent lane clear. Kumba's root, I don't think most people realize, Kumba's root is 2 seconds long at one point into the ability. All ranking up the ability does is increase the damage. It's 2 seconds long at rank 1.
It's the final.
And roots have no DR. Yo, thank you, Windracher, for the sub, my friend, and supporting the Twitchiest community. So, roots have no DR.
The final countdown.
And it's 2 seconds, and you typically get to that level 2. So that's incredible. His Mez gets up to 2 seconds, and you level that skill typically up second, right after you level up your 1. It gets up to 2 seconds long on the Mez. It's an attack speed slow. And it's a movement speed slow after you break the Mez, which you could just keep him in the Mez anyway if you wanted to. No, 3 second Mez. 3 second Mez, 2 seconds slow. 3 second Mez, 2 seconds slow is actually what it is. I said that wrong. And then, of course, his ultimate is huge right now because he's comboing with the mids, dude. What are we seeing in mid? We're seeing Scylla's. We're seeing, like, Zeus's. We're seeing, like, Vulcans. We're seeing a lot of combos. So we're seeing Isis, like, Kuma ult in the air, Isis ults on the floor, throws out the spirit ball, pops the spirit ball, pops the ultimate, poof, somebody's dead. Doesn't matter who it is. Hi-Res Studios blows up. Like, that kind of stuff happens when that combo goes down. So that's why he's so popular right now. You don't have to win the laning phase over in the ADC, although if you're going to, I mean, you can get a Weakening Curse on Kuma and you can go for a kill because you bop, you clear the wave, you root somebody, they beads, you wait for the beads to run off, you mez them, and then you Weakening Curse them, they're double slowed, like, woo! Bam! Loki, is there like a screw everybody who plays Loki tier? Because that's the tier he should be in. He should be in the ban every account that has a single game on Loki. Except for me. Don't ban my account. I've got like 4 games on him. Shoutouts to Arena Qs. Loki's not good. The only role he's even possibly viable in is the solo lane. But he's not going to give you any front line. He's going to take way too long to turn on. He's not going to be able to rotate early enough and get kills, so you're just not going to be able to play him. He's totally fine in other queues. You just can't play him in Conquest. Medusa is fine. We're seeing a few Medusas. We saw Xenotronics play Medusa mid to good success. Yeah, thank you, Bullseye, for the resub 5 months in a row. I appreciate it. I believe we saw Xenotronics play it middle. We've seen Oceans play it ADC in the past. It pairs well with, gods like Athena who can taunt and make people look at you. It does good base damage. I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with Medusa. It's just that when Medusa falls behind, she has a super hard time comparatively to, Apollo falls behind and he just split pushes and ultis into a team fight and gets his XP back. So that's the part where she's having troubles. Mercury. I think Mercury is probably going to be a polarizing god for the tier list. Not in terms of where I'm ranking him, but just in terms of people's opinions on him. I think Mercury can be one of the most frustrating gods in the game. His ultimate is really detrimental. With speed buff, he does a lot of damage. He has the grab, but he's super squishy. And Merc's number one problem is something that you can't do anything about, and it's why I'm putting him in A tier. So Mercury takes typically, 15, 20 minutes to turn on, right? 15, 20 minutes to turn on, but when he gets to that point, okay, he does so much damage, okay? So much damage. But, Hide of the Nemean Lion completely kills Mercury. There is nothing he can do about it. Mercury cannot attack you if you build Hide of the Nemean Lion. I went support Chalk with Nemean Lion, threw my axe, and sat there AFK, and the Mercury killed himself before he killed me. Yeah. Solo laners can walk all over Mercury. A support that builds Nemean can walk all over Mercury. He destroys if he goes and one punches, the hunters and stuff. But if the tanks can get in front of him, he just kills himself. Can't do anything about it. Neath. Alright. This is going to be my public announcement to all people right here. I want you, if you're a hunter player, okay? Here's my prayer. Here's my namaste. Namaste. Look at this list so far. Okay? We got Anher. We got Apollo. We got Jing Wei. We got Hu Yi. Shit, you got you got an Artemis in here, man. You got a Chiron. You can play freaking Cupid. Stop picking Neath. Please, Lord, stop picking Neath in my game, man. I love you, and I know that you want to play Neath because she's got those huge, huge personality orbs. But you just gotta stop picking Neath in my games, man, because she is trash. Okay? Why is she trash? She doesn't work well with Golden Bow. The rule number one right now for ADCs in Smite is if you're good with Golden Bow, then you're a good ADC right now. As far as ADCs goes, she wants to build Transcendence, okay? And so she doesn't get... If you go Golden Bow, you're not going to be as good with Golden Bow as the other ADCs are. And if you go Transcendence, then you don't have Golden Bow. Either way, don't do it. It triggers me. I love you, man. Neath has been in the meta for so long. I know it's hard to let her go, dude. You're clutching at her skirts, but just let her go. Okay. Okay. Nemesis. 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 I'm sure this will trigger lots of people. She's not bad. Seriously. She is actually pretty good. Oh yeah, they call her Nemesis. She's actually an A tier. So let the rain fall down upon me of Nemesis is the worst god in the game. How dare you ever pick Nemesis? She is trash. I can't believe you'd even suggest using Nemesis. But the point being, she got buffed recently. Her ultimate takes away 50% of your protections the second she levels a point into her ultimate. She's got 2 different slow abilities. Her reflex shield is great. Her dash is good. Her passive got buffed, so she now takes many percents of damage when she attacks you. And she's a damn good jungle. So think about it. Nezha is one of our better junglers right now. You're seeing Nezha picked and banned a lot. Why is that? Because he's basically the Kumba of the jungle, but with a lot of damage. Ring Toss does a ton of damage. Sash is great. He has a nice heal, and his ultimate is fantastic setup for all of the mid gods in the meta right now. And he also has crazy clear for the early game, which is super important right now in the jungle. So... Oh, that is rich! Nox is still not good. You can get away with Nezha. You can get away with Nox in casuals. You can get away with her in ranked. You can't get away with her competitive. It's not going to happen. Even if you're just like the best Nox player and you're so confident that you're going to hit your 1-2 combo, at some point you're going to miss your 1-2 combo and then you're going to lose the fight because of it. You're going to lose the fight because of it. So, or you go for the 1-2 combo on an early fight, and all of a sudden, they beads it, and they walk right at you, and you're dead. Whatever the situation may be. Fun god, I love her. She has my favorite skin in the game. I love Madame Nox. Love everything about her. Just isn't the greatest god. Play her for fun, not necessarily to win. Nua's a strange god, in all honesty, because I'm going to be real with you guys. I haven't seen her in such a long time. I don't know how good she is. I'm going to assume that because she hasn't been played that often, that she is not that good. Partially, I imagine this is because of her clay minions still having, you know, like, brain problems. Like, at some point when she makes her clay minions, she just, like, takes out their brains and just throws them on the floor. So they go left, this way, this way. You use your 3, and then they immediately dodge to the left and do the salsa. I feel like if those were better, she would be better. But I'd put her right here on this B+ tier. I wouldn't pick her before a lot of your mages, but, you know, you can play her and have fun. She's not like super troll. It's not like you're picking an Aphrodite or a Hell or something. It's not troll. It's just not super meta. Odin! Odin's in a great spot right now. By great spot, I don't mean like OP. I mean like he's in a great spot, like where he probably should be. For the most part, you're going to see him jungle. You can see him support and solo. You're almost never going to see him solo anymore. He used to be a lot more popular, but not so much in the solo lane anymore. You're probably going to see him more jungle support area. But really all you're going to see Odin for is countering. You're not just going to probably pick Odin willy-nilly. But they have an Isis on their team. They have a Sylvanas on their team. They have 2, 3, 4 gods that can't get out of your Odin ring. You go ahead. Thank you, Nam, for the resub. I appreciate it. You just go ahead and you can pick Odin, get them all trapped in there, bring some pain down upon them. Try to, you know, capitalize on the Odin ult. You grab a Hui to combo with you. You grab a Zeus to combo with you, whatever the situation may be. But he's definitely a god more around building team comps. He actually reminds me a lot of a Willix. A Willix, willy-nilly, not the greatest god. You want to pick her against gods that have jumps and with your team that has knockups. Same thing with Odin. You want your team to have some circle abilities and you want the enemy to not have jumps. Osiris! Our boy Osisai! He's up here in S tier. He's one of the top tier junglers right now. Osiris, Bellona, and Raven probably. Top 3 junglers right now that you can just do over and over again with no regard for the law. Nobody beats Osiris, I think, level through 4, if I recall correctly. You absolutely destroy. There's not a single solo laner outside of, like, Raven that can destroy the backline and just tank them as easy as they can. Did I say jungle? I meant solo. I meant solo! Leave me alone. Did I say jungle? I did not mean jungle. Leave me alone, please! Rip the top 3 junglers. Rip credit everywhere. Dude, no, please. Top 3 solo laners. Osiris, Bellona, and later on Raven are probably the top 3 solo laners. They just pretty straightforward walk on the lane and, you know, dominate and do whatever they do because solo laners, whatever solo laners do, dude, whatever they do. Osiris, best jungle ever. If you just can't agree with me, then my tier list is just obviously above your head. God. Poseidon just recently is getting a buff in this patch. Poseidon getting a little bit of a buff to his meters. So his Tidal Surge and Whirlpool take 5% less of his meter. And I think maybe they did one other thing to him, but I honestly can't recall. He's honestly fine. He does everything you need a mid to do. He does great clear. He has great clear on his Whirlpool, which can combine with Tidal Surge, so you can clear the wave super fast, especially with Soulstone Purple Pot, although you probably want to go Vampiric instead of Soulstone. Oh, they also have less mana cost. That was the other change. They take less Tidal, and they also have less mana cost. He has good early fight because of how strong Trident is. The triple attack from Trident, if you hit all 3, is actually really strong. If you get somebody trapped into a Whirlpool, Trident, throw down the Surge, Trident again, you're pretty much do 70% of somebody's health if you're like level 3, 4. But You're not going to pick him before Isis, Janice, etc., etc. Hurrah! 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 What does the Ra say? The Ra says, damn, I suck right now, man! He's just down here. I'd pick him before Hell. You know, why would you pick Ra when you could pick not Ra, is the way I like to look at it. It's like, you know, I'm Ra, but I can also be not Ra. So that's a good option. That's a pretty good option. Yeah. You just, I mean, he's like really almost fine. You know? He's like right, like close to, he's like right close to being good. But,
It's the final
just not good. Just not good enough, though. Well, thank you, Thomas the Train, baby. I love train sets. I love me some choo-choo. Up in my hoo-hoo. Wait, what? Anyway. Alright. Raijin. Raijin's pretty good. So, for the last probably 3 months, we've had complaints from the Reddit community. We've had complaints from everybody through casuals and even ranked that Raijin was like up here, dude. Everybody's like, Raijin, best god ever. There's just nothing you can do about him. But in actuality, Raijin's win was like not that impressive. His win rate was like something, I think it was below 50. He like had one of the lower win rates. And that was mainly because his 3 was trash. His getaway skill was only good for initiating and was terrible at getting away. But now, he can, in fact, use it to get away, which brings him up here in this A+ tier with Isis and Janice. Same type of level, a little bit different in what he does, but definitely one of the best mid laners in the game right now. You're going to see him a lot. He brings lane clear. He has the early game fight. He's got a big money ultimate, and he does what you need your mid laner to do. He done does it. He done does what you need to done do. Ram. So Ram is a good ADC, but we haven't seen him that much because a lot of the pro players have been sticking away from him because Ram is bugged right now. A lot of pro players play without... Okay, I'm trying to get this right. Play without restricted pitch on, but when you use Rama Ultimate, it puts you into restricted camera pitch right now, which throws off a lot of players trying to use Rama Ult. I think we're going to see him get to play a lot more, and we may see him come back up into a higher tier. But we haven't seen him play that much recently because of that. It does get fixed in the patch tomorrow. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and put him right in A tier for now. Otherwise, yeah, it will be fixed though, so. But it's not quite fixed yet. Ratatasker. So Ratatasker is getting completely reworked. And honestly, my only know-hows of how strong he is, I have honestly not had the opportunity to play him yet. Every time I could, the PTS was down for me, so I could not play. I have heard that he is nuts. I've heard... oh my god, I made a pun! I didn't even mean to. I've heard that he is crazy, that he's super strong, and that he may possibly be towards a game-breaking level, but because I haven't gotten to play him yet, I'm going to put him right in S tier. We haven't seen him played at a lot of levels. We haven't seen him played in ranked. We haven't seen him played competitively. We're seeing him played on, PTS, and on PTS you have, Zapman versus Pleb number 87, so it's hard to see exactly how strong gods are. So I'm going to put him right in S tier until we can see exactly how he comes a little bit farther here onto live client and how he transfers. Robin is going to finish up our top 3 solo laners. Robin, we had a long process of Robin is launches and he's fine. He gets nerfed and he's awful. How the hell do we fix Robin? Okay, let's change his kit so it's more fun. Sweet, we changed his kit. Now he's broken. Okay, let's make him so he's a little bit less broken. Fantastic. Okay, actually, wait, Robin is still super strong. That was kind of the path of Robin since he's come out. And he's super strong. Good early game. Good middle game. His late game is shaky. But you don't always have to do anything late game. You just kind of walk at people as a solo laner.
I'm never gonna dance again.
Thank you, WPO. I appreciate it. Get that flex on, baby. Now to Scylla. Now to Scylla. To Scylla. What do I think about Scylla? I'm going to tell you guys what I think about Scylla. This is what I think about Scylla. That's what I think about Scylla right now. What a god, dude. What a god. She just smacks people, man. She just really gets it going. Her early game is super strong. I don't know why they ever buffed her, dude. She's got a root, which also doubles as a cripple. She's got a 2, which has insane damage clear, also doubles as a slow. She's got a giveaway skill that also doubles as MP5 regen. Her passive gives her magical power, and her ultimate does insane damage, and it also resets. Scylla, I think, is the best god in the game right now. Best god in the game. What a god, dude. Alright. Circuit.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood.
Yo, thank you, Optimus Rhyme, 76 months bro, I appreciate it. You know what Circuit is? Circuit's fine.
If there's something weird,
Circuit is
don't look good.
Circuit's in a good spot. Speed buff is back. Circuit likes speed buff. Congrats, Circuit. You did it. Cool beans. Scotty is a great god that just can't be played because she's so squishy. Realistically, they should just have this say Coldir, not Scotty. We all know who the real god is. She is probably, without a doubt, the best 1v1 hunter in the game because Coldir can block autos, which means you just default win a fight. But she gets rotated on so easy. I definitely think people want to make her work, but she's just, it's too hard to make her work right now. Too hard to make her work right now. Sobek. He's up here with our boy Capri. So we're seeing a lot of Sobek get played because he has a lot of lane presence. He has a lot of lane presence. And he has a lot of good team fight. And he has a lot of good combos. The Sobek and Willix combo is great. He pretty much default went to the lane, which means you can rotate early. It means you might be able to look for something. He has a lot of good things going for him. Kind of around that Capri level or so, but he's not quite as good as Athena or Kumbo when it comes to a team fight situation and as far as peeling goes. He's not a great peeler. That's Sobek's weak spot, is his peeling is not strong. Because for the most part, you're plucking and then using your tail up on the person you plucked, which kind of leaves you with nothing up. Soul. Soul is still really strong. Soul is interesting because she doesn't out-push ADCs because of Golden Bow. She's still viable in mid, though, and in ADC. She's definitely around A+S. The question is exactly what tier she falls in. Would I pick her before Hu Yi, after Hu Yi? Would I pick Apollo before, after Hu Yi? You know, it's kind of hard to tell exactly, you know, where it needs to go. Also, shout out to Mower Man. I love Mower Man Monday, dude. Mower Man Monday, best day. Best day every day, all day. I'm going to go ahead and put her in A+ for now. We've been seeing a little bit less of her in the SPL now. I feel like she opens up compositions, though, which is nice, which is probably one of the benefits of her, which isn't a direct effect necessarily of her character, which is why I put her an A+ and not S. What she does allow, though, is if you put a Soul ADC, you can put like an and her middle. Something like that. But that's not necessarily a part of her god. It's just kind of like how she works in the meta right now. But she's definitely very strong, and she can work mid and ADC, so yeah. Sun Wukong is not a bad solo laner. And he definitely has his merits, but for now I'd put him right in A tier. You can play Wukong solo, and I do from time to time in ranked, but it's not something I'd ever pull out in competitive. So shout out to the competitive teams. Guess what? You never got to ban Wukong against me. I definitely would think about putting, Wukong in the solo. He does have good clear, and he's certainly a good god, and I think he's right where he needs to be in the A tier. And I think he definitely comes down to, it's not the fact that he's not great, it's just that, like, Raven, man, he just like, pop, 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 flip kick, poof. And it's just like, Wukong just like, I got a stick. I'm a tiger. Roar. But, what are you going to do? I love Wukong. Susano. I have had some hands-on time with Susano, or Susan as he's so been called. And we have not seen him in ranked yet, but I believe he'll be available in ranked tomorrow. I think the Ratatasker work counts as a new god, but if it doesn't, then neither him nor Susanna will be available in ranked. He is very strong. He could arguably be the best jungler. Him and Ratatasker probably will end up being the best junglers right now. And I'm going to go ahead and throw him in S tier for now. I'm pretty sure that him and Ratatasker will probably end up being the go-to hunters, or maybe even go-to bans, as soon as they become competitively viable. They may be too much to deal with in their current forms if they don't get nerfed. Oh, Professor Varus! Professor Varus is fine, dude. A tier, man. What an A tier god. He's got good clear. The heals are nice. His knockup is nice. You sometimes gotta, make sure you're picking him into the right composition. You don't want to pick it into a composition where they can grab Sobek. Sobek destroys you. They can still pick up an Odin. If they can still pick up Serket, you can have a hard time. But he does well in the lane. Did I say Hunter? Did I say Hunter for Susanna? Was that what I said? You guys are lit. I didn't say Hunter. I'm going to watch this video back. There's no way I said Hunter. I said Jangle. I said Jingle, Jangle, Bangle. Did I say Hunter for Sylvanas? I don't even know, dude. Maybe I'm just lit. Okay. Thanatos. Does well against Capri. Thanatos does well against Capri. Interestingly enough, Thanatos, of course, being like, when people think early game gods, it's like, Thanatos, Isis. But not having the best split. He's in a weird spot where, like, he's fun to play, but he's not really doing what he needs to do. I'm not sure if the build is hurting him right now or what. But Thanatos is not finding a way into the meta right now. Just, period, is not finding a way into the meta. So, what are you going to do about it? It just kind of is what it is. Thor! Thor is going to be, always and forever, one of the best junglers in the world. I'm going to put him up in this A+ tier. Him and Nezha are basically what you're picking for jungles right now. They're the best of your jungles. They're not Susanna and Ratatasker that are coming out. They're certainly not that, but they are the best of the best basically that you can be offered right now as a jungler as you're looking at that Thor Nezha. Like, is one of them up? Because I would really like to play one of them. So, Tyr. Tyr's a good solo laner, but Tyr is not the other three. Tyr can go right here in this A+ tier. Tier, an A+. Tier? Oh, man, it's a good day. He has his merits, and he has his capabilities. He will typically lose lane to a couple of the solo lane gods. He can have some hard time against them. Even Guan Yu he can lose to, you know. Down in a tier below him is actually Guan's preferred matchup. But he's he just doesn't quite bring what the other three bring to him, is basically what it was. What an interesting decision to put him in A+. Okay. Ullr is fine. Ullr is Neath if Neath was better. Right? So, think about Ullr for a second. Ullr loves Transcendence, right? Ullr loves Transcendence. Why? Because Ullr is a mana-hungry man-whore. Okay? And he doesn't really want to build Golden Bow because he wants Trans so bad. But, like, Golden Bow is so good, dude. It's just like, I gotta get my Golden Bow fixed. I gotta give me the Golden Bow, dude. Just put it right into my system. I feel so much better with the Golden Bow in me. But, you know, just one of those things you just gotta be careful with Ullr is the fact that you really want to go Trans for the mana, but Golden Bow is just gonna get you out cleared by all the other hunters. So you just gotta be worried about it. But honestly, I'd 100 times rather you play Ullr and go Trans than go Neath and go Trans. So, Vamana, also a really good god over in the solo lane. It's almost like solo laners and hunters right now are just like feeling the wealth, dude. Feeling the wealth. Solo lane god pool is bigger than it's ever been right now. There's like a ton of viable gods. Vamana right about that tier. With tier. Typically not in your top 3, but like right after, or maybe you're looking for situational, like, hey, they've got an Artemis, I can just Vamana Nebian, just get like a Nemean Lion and just like Vamana ult right on top of her, or, you know, something like that. Or maybe they've got a couple things that they're going to CC me with, and I'm just going to Vamana ult and just walk right at them and they can't CC me. So overall, his clear is great on Vamana. Vamana clear is fantastic, so he's totally viable. Feel free, dude. Vulcan is actually viable right now. I feel like that might surprise a lot of people to see Vulcan actually be balanced. But he's actually pairing well now. He works well with gods like a Willix. He does quite well in lane clear. He likes Doom Ward, which is, you know, pretty decent in the meta. His ultimate is actually not terrible anymore, you know, since they made it a little bit faster right on top of himself. And, you know, the circle pops up a little bit later. Not your best god in mid, but a pretty damn good god. Xbalanque is strong. Ah, God, A+ tier probably. Let's put him in the A+ tier. I don't think I would quite rank him with the likes of Anhur, Apollo, and Jing. They're a little bit different, okay? So, Xbalanque this season was not good, okay? So we were like, Xbalanque and no, okay? And then Golden Bow came out. And then Xbalanque went, wait a second. No early game clear. This item gives me full clear at level 1. If I pick Xbalanque, I get a passive 50 power. I can get 30 more power from my passive, so I get 80 passive power. I'll ult somebody, so I get movement speed and extend my range. They can't see anything. It'll completely stop their engage. I'll just build attack speed items so I can just, oh my god, I figured it out. And then, boom, Xbalanque is back in the meta because the hunters were like, Xbalanque OP! I definitely think you could argue for Xbalanque being S tier. I think he's probably right alongside those 4. It's just that He's a little bit different in a competitive setting, which is that I think he's better in competitive than he is in casuals ranked, because his ultimate can be used when you initiate and when you're initiated against, and you can do a lot with that, but that's something that may not happen in the lower tiers. Shinten is like almost fine. If his ultimate wasn't terrible, he would be good. Okay? If his ultimate wasn't terrible, he'd be good. His 1 is good. He has his root back on his 2. He has 3, which is his jump, which is good. It gives protections, dude. That gives protections, okay? But his ultimate is like, alright, I'm gonna start, I swear to you, I'm gonna start casting my ultimate right now, okay, guys? I'm gonna start casting it right now. There, I did it. Woo! Alright. I got an ultimate off, man. It feels good. Ah, shit, everybody left the circle. Everybody left. Nobody wanted to stay in my ultimate that I was spinning and just sending anybody around. So as it turns out, he has the worst ultimate in the entire game. It's completely useless, and if you get hit by his ultimate, it's because your hands were off your keyboard, your beat, Aegis was down, and you were rooted, or you were playing with your feet. So, that is pretty much that, dude. Ymir is higher. Ymir's around A tier, but I wouldn't pick him probably before I'd pick Gab. He just isn't really... It's not his type of meta. It's just not really Ymir's meta. He's having a hard time with getting caught. The builds aren't really in his favor. He doesn't really like the meta right now. There's a lot of other guys. He's got good clear, but a lot of people are playing so aggressive. That you can just like, you get Kepri Plactor and then you die. You get Sobek Plactor. Now you're getting taunted into a Jingwei knockup, so you fly halfway across the lane. You can just... It's just a very rough time for Ymir. I love Ymir, dude, because he's got a Twitch skin, and Lord knows that I'm a fan of the Twitch. At least my body is. It just won't stop. But the point being, he's alright. Alright, down to the last two. Zeus Juice. Gotta get that Zeus juice. Zeus is powerful as hell. He's right here. You're looking to pick up Zeus when you're picking up your Janices and your Isises and your Raijans. He's not quite on a tier of Scylla, but he is right around that mark when you're going to do that Zeus, Isis, Janus, Raijin nonsense. When you're picking between the 4 based on your team comp, based on your personal preference as a mid laner, etc., etc., your honorary INCON can only play Zeus. He's got to stop playing Zeus. Please stop picking Zeus, man. We get it, dude. I play Isis, and then I play Scylla, and then I play Zeus, and they're like, all he plays is Zeus. He ain't never played anything but Zeus. And I'm like, I'm just a Zeus player, Tart. I drink the Zeus juice and I feel good. I feel electrified. I just want to play the Zeus juice. Leave me alone. And finally, our boy, Zhang to the Quay, dude. Zhang to the Quay. He's fine. He's probably a little bit... No, it's not that I don't think Zhang Kui's underutilized. It's that I think there's so many other mid laners that are strong. When you've got 5 mid laners that are A+ or above, not including hunter options like a Anher or even like a Jingwei or something, you've got a lot of gods in the table, especially competitively, that you're probably going to see before you see, you know, a Zhang Kui pulled out into that sort of situation. So this is basically our finalized tier list, guys. Our polls being Scylla as the greatest god in the game right now, and Aphrodite just sitting at the bottom wishing she could do anything but summon flocks of birds. We have the majority of our gods in the A+ through B+ range, which is good. As we have seen pretty much for the entirety of Season 3, I believe this is our third tier list of Season 3, we have a little bit of a lean towards the OP side compared to the UP side. And by that I mean if you look at the S tier, there's more gods in S tier than there is in B tier, which means that for the most part, you're seeing a lot of gods not get picked, not because they're bad, but because other gods are too strong. Comparatively to, like, you're not picking AMC because he's trash, but, like, you're not picking Poseidon so often just because, you know, Raijin and Isis are better. So a little bit different situation there, but that's the final tier list, guys. I'll leave it up here for a second. Feel free to take a picture or so if you want to make sure that you have this tier list for yourself under wraps, guys. I've got Pro League here